Well, hello and welcome to the fabulous show. I am your host this week. I'm Joy Willett, and this is a show where we get to explore our fabulous lives with an amazing panel of guest experts. And today we are going to be exploring how to create calm in the storm. What do you think? Let's talk. Well, hello to my amazing panel and my dear friends. How are you all? And welcome to our Let's Talk Fabulous show. And as you all know, we're going to be discussing how we create calm in the storm. So right now, I'd like to go around and just have each of you share who you are and where you're coming in from. Jason, how about you go first?
All right. Hello, everyone. Thank you for having me here today and joining us in this wonderful conversation. My name is Jason Jurado, and I am coming from Winters, California, right outside of Sacramento, and I'm happy to be here.
Wonderful. Adora, how about you next?
Yep, my name's Adora Evans, and I'm on the road to some mountains in Georgia right now, and really grateful to be here. Thank you.
Wonderful. Justin, you go next.
Hello, everyone. I am Justin Rice, and I live in Atlanta, Georgia. Happy to be here. Thank you.
Thank you, too. And Jessica.
Hi, I'm Jessica Sheehan, and I am joining live from the Oregon coast. So I'm excited to be here. This is a great looking panel.
It sure is, and you're part of it too, aren't you, Jessica? So with that being said, I'd like to share something.
Hi, I'm Jessica Sheehan, and I'm excited to talk about creating calm in the storm and doing so with confidence, courage, and compassion. The first thing that I note is that creating is an active verb. And if we have the confidence and the courage to realize that we are actually creating our own reality every minute of every day, we can realize that our quality of life really depends upon us. So this is a very empowered position to come from. And one of the things that helps me personally to create calm is to maintain my perspective and to process my reality in a way that is positive, to surround myself with people who are positive and uplifting, and to set boundaries and to be aware of the things and the projects and the people that I give my time and energy to. In particular, one of the things that keeps me grounded is spending time with nature, spending time with my plants and my flowers and my silly chickens. And those are some of the things that I enjoy that help me to maintain balance. And the more balanced I am, the more I'm able to bring calm and balance to other people and other situations that I encounter. I'm looking forward to discussing all of these things more as we dive into these topics.
Wow, Jessica, that was so amazing. So what I'd like you to do is come up here and, gosh, you really do have the epitome of calm sharing that. However, has your life always been that calm?
No, not at all. And that's a really great point, Joy, because life is not calm. Life is messy and it's wild and it's ups and downs. And so because we are all creating our reality, if we keep the perspective to know that that's all part of it, then we don't need to freak out or let that rock our boat. It's just the way that life is. So the ability to create calm is in spite of whatever's going on. It's not because it's just smooth sailing.
Got you. Well, I heard something jumped out at me in your video. I heard silly chickens. I thought that was really cute. So tell us a little bit about your connection with nature and those silly darn chickens.
Thank you, Joy. You know me, and you know that I love a chance to talk about my chickens. So being in relationship with nature is really important to me. And I love to be able to well, I work from home and I travel when there are events. So I love to be able to go outside and spend time in my garden and spend time with my flowers. And I spend time with my flock quite a bit as well. And, chickens are just silly. They're silly little creatures, but they have a purpose and they all have their little personalities. And I think that, they help me to stay in the moment. Because when you pay attention to nature and you put yourself in an environment that's filled with nature, it's a very happy kind of space for me. And it just helps me to remember that the moments are really what matter. And nature has this way of just, they're very efficient. So they don't get upset over stupid things. They're not worrying about what am I going to do tomorrow, or I have to do this or have to do that. They're just in the moment. And so that kind of perspective really helps me to maintain a good perspective and balance myself. And they make me laugh, which I know that that's important on this show. Laughter is a big deal. So those are the things that I really enjoy with them. And they make beautiful eggs as well.
Oh, they do. I've seen your eggs and your flowers and everything that you share with people that know and love you, because you are also a very busy entrepreneur, a mother to 3 grown children or young people. And so it takes a lot to be juggling all of those things and to find that time, doesn't it?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, I have a very full and very busy life. I'm very blessed, but I have my parents living with us right now, with me, and we have 3 young adult children, so they have busy lives, and one of them just moved back in. And yeah, life is busy, but it's amazing to see where the ride takes us.
I like that. I like that. So, speaking about the ride, I'd like to bring up our next guest. And here we go. And there we go. There we go. There you go. And we have our wonderful Adora Evans here. And you're actually coming in from on the road somewhere, right, Adora?
And back on the road again. I'm doing a vision retreat in the mountains in Georgia. So hello, Justin. We're waving from over here, ballpark right now. Yes, I have the perfect story for this, Joyce, because and then I'll ground it into more reality. But I went on an adventure where we got on jet skis on a seemingly normal day. And then suddenly, we were following a boat to where we were supposed to return the jet skis. And suddenly, the storm comes in. And I don't know if any of you have been on jet skis at all with a couple of people. It's all a balancing act. And I'm not a full-time or even a part-time jet skier, if that's a profession. So 30 boats are flying in, rain's coming, the water's like at one point, the ocean, it's like an ocean wave ahead of me. One wrong move and we're off the jet skis, people. And there were a few key moments, like one key moment when we realized the boat that we were following left us and we had no idea where to go. Everybody was pissed. But I knew I couldn't hang out there because we needed every resource to be able to focus on finding our own way, and that would burn energy. So same thing, I'm going to pull in. I just completed filming an episode and I found out my fiance had been cheating for 6 months. So this is all in the same couple of weeks. So I could hang out in blame. How did this happen? Right? And that uses my resources for life, not a good use of time. So instead I went, nope, I took the high risk. I knew what I was getting into. This was part of it. And here's how it went, right? And then now, where am I going next? So the other thing that came up that is key in the story is that I would keep focusing on seeing myself in the cabin, smiling, laughing, telling the story, or when people were I was a passenger, which is even less control. When he would freak out a little bit, I would say, "You're good. Everything's good. You've got this. Great job. Great job." Now, Hunter and I are bonded for life, this 25-year-old kid I was riding with, but the same thing. And then there was a moment of prayer on the back of that boat where we almost, it really felt near death at one point. And I would say in my relationship and navigating, this peak moment, like life does that sometimes, this epic first episode, Dining Divas Texas, with then boom, this big life disruption and heart, one is I didn't pretend the storm wasn't happening, right? That's another like manifesting, la, 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 it's not happening. Well, bye. You'll be singing with the angels in heaven and, maybe you'll get another round. I've allowed the waves of the emotions to come and to find ways to dance with that, process that, and then, but also not be encompassed by the storm. Where am I going? How is this working for me? And the biggest part to land this plane or the jet ski at the safe dock, because I'm still here and that's what happened, is faith, like just believing and staying close to God, Yeshua, name above all name. I am that I am, the universe, whatever word resonates for you. But that has been the lifeblood of staying calm in the storm, is knowing that this is all part of a bigger picture, that I'm completely held in divinity, that I'm supported, that I am divinity, that it's flowing through me. And that made that storm, both storms, one of the most alive, full of lessons, grateful, beautiful, dynamic adventures, both of them.
Wow. That is so immensely beautiful, Adora. And what struck me, and pretty soon we're going to have everyone jumping in after we kind of spotlight you all, is how that level of surrender, right, and faith, and yet keeping like common sense, keeping your head, like when your life is almost a flash before your eyes, what happens, right? What happens? Yeah. On all so many levels for you. Thank you so much. So much. And this is why I wanted all of you, each of you, to be here, because you each have an incredible story of how you create calm amidst those storms. So I want to share something right now about another panelist.
Hello, my name is Jason Jurado, and I'm here today to talk about creating calm in the storm. Such a great topic, and there's so much nuance to it. And part of what we're going to talk about in this talk that's coming up is about one of the things is compassion. And that's the first thing I would offer, is that as you go through this process, offer yourself a lot of compassion and know that you're trying. The saying that sticks with me is that a bird does not fear the branch breaking as it rests upon it, not because it has faith in the branch, but it has trust in its own wings. And that's what we can do, is that we can learn the techniques, build the resources, and have trust in our own wings. And that's going to give us the confidence to deal with the storms. One of the things that I've done is I like to meditate, and that helps me center and helps me with mindfulness. It's been a lot of years that I've worked on this though, so it doesn't have to come overnight. I'm actually sitting next to one of my bodhi trees. I've been growing them for a few years now, and I started them off with seeds. And if you're not familiar, the bodhi tree is the tree that Prince Siddhartha sat under as he found enlightenment and became the Buddha. And the reason I'm sitting here is because it's in my backyard and I enjoy it. But I do want to mention it because sometimes just finding that silence and taking that time for ourselves to find our center, to find a calm, And that's what I do, and that's how I find it dealing with storms. So I'm really looking forward to this talk today. And once again, my name is Jason Jurado.
Wow, how wonderful is that, Jason? So, welcome, and tell us a little bit more. The Bodhi tree and Siddhartha and all of this.
Yeah, I just wanted to share that, because that was something that's very special to me, that I grew those from the seed. And it's, there's a lot of knowledge inherent in, and we talked about nature already today. And I love that because we are part of nature, and that's part of our lessons. And, I knew that when I planted that Bodhi tree seed, what was a Bodhi tree? And, it's the seeds that we plant or what show up in our lives. And sometimes we plant tomato seeds looking for a plum tree, and that's just not going to happen. So, dealing with these creating calm in the storm, you have to start from your base. You have to have a strong base and kind of know. And, I know there's a lot of NLP people on this panel, which is great. Neuro linguistic programming, talking about the language of the mind for getting the results that we want and how we picture things. And I know we'll get into that later. But it really resonates with me, and it's kind of a picture for me to settle in and to be calm, and I do study Buddhism and Zen Buddhism, and so that's just something for me that reminds me of that. One of the other things that I filmed for this, I was talking about deep roots grow strong trees, and strong trees grow bountiful fruit, and that's what we have to have. We have to have very solid roots to help us with all of this. What's the saying is that the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is today. And I tie that in because that's part of my story. So I've been meditating since I was 8 years old. I've been into martial arts. I've done a lot of different things. I've always been a self-learner. I spent a lot of time in the library. And I thought I had a lot of tools. Well, in 1999, and I'm a healer, and I've always been that way. And that's just part of my story, and always been trying to find what modalities work for me. But my personal story is that in 1999, I went through a divorce, and it just absolutely gutted me. It absolutely just was the love of my life. And long story ends a happy ending. We got back together 7 years later, and we're married. We've been married for 15 years again, and love of my life. And it's amazing. But I share this because when that happened, I wasn't prepared. The storm overwhelmed me. And at that time I was like, well, I'm not going to just ball up and stop. So I started looking at new tools, and I started reading more books. And it was challenging because the place that I was in emotionally, mentally, physically, I wasn't strong enough at that time. Well, I didn't think I was strong enough. Of course, we're all strong enough. We all come from source. And so we're strong enough. But it was harder for me to see the sunshine. It was harder for me to see the other side, that I was going to be okay, but I stuck with it, and I read those books, and I tried to process it the best I could. My point is that today is the best time to start that. It's always a good time to start learning and start growing and start that. So, you build the shelter when the sun is shining, not when the rains are coming. But if the rains show up and you don't have a shelter, you have to do something, So that's that balance. And so that's what I'd like to talk about is having an awareness where you're at, knowing what's truly going on, and part of my training is in polyvagal theory, and it's the nervous system and how it responds to the world. And we say, in this moment, in this place, with these people, is this the response that's appropriate? Because so often we see a small little drizzle, and we think it's a huge tsunami. And when we can shift our mindset to be able to see, oh, that's just a drizzle, and you've got this. You have the power. It's within you to handle this however you want to. It's something that's very important. And how I do that, I'll come all the way back around to end this, is I find my inner peace, and I find my silence. And like the Buddha sat under the tree for 40 days, and there's other things and other stories about that, but to truly just sit in silence. No, I don't sit that long. I sit 10 minutes in the morning and 10 minutes at night, but it helps me find my center, and in my center I'm balanced, and I know I'm prepared for any storm that shows up.
I love that, especially the building the shelter, right before the rain comes. But if it starts to rain, build it now. And we're kind of in those times right now, aren't we?
Yeah.
A little bit. I mean, for all of us. Yeah, I love that. And we're going to be coming back around with more thoughts and beautiful impulses. But first, I want to share another panelist with you. And here we go.
Hello, everyone. I am Justin Rice, and this is how I create the calm within the storm. During the height of the global pandemic in 2020, when the world was in chaos, my great friend and I decided to bike across America, nearly 4,000 miles from Tillamook, Oregon to Tybee Island. And during this ride, we were faced with many storms and many great challenges, from flat tires to biking up mountains with very high elevations to bear encounters, you name it. And during this ride, I was able to find the calm within the storm by placing my awareness in my heart through meditation. Connecting to our hearts allows us to find our center. When we have challenges, when we have storms in our lives, our heart is our place of peace and calmness. And if we connect to it and put our awareness onto it, it allows us to become that calm within the storm. So during this ride, meditation for me was a great way to find the calm within the storm.
Wow. Just loving today's talk with all of you. Justin, my dear friend.
Hi, Joy.
How are you being?
I'm being well. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Tell us a little bit about why you decided to come on this show today.
Well, I think we're all faced with great challenges in this world, and it's important to be able to have the tools that many of the teachers on this call are talking about to find that center and get through challenges. You know, I believe personally that the challenges that we face in our lives are actually great teachers and blessings in disguise for us to learn and evolve and grow and become better versions of ourselves. And finding that center and that calmness within the storm allows us to really get to the place we want to go to, you know, and create the life we desire. So I think, you know, what we talked about before and some of the speakers talked about prior was the heart being the center and finding our center through meditation. And I believe that's a great tool for us to use.
Absolutely. And, you know, again, you have a very, I will say, a very full life, right? Tell us a little bit about what you're doing. And then again, how do you manage that full life with connecting with your heart and meditating and even prayer?
Well, piggybacking off of what Jason was saying, you know, that we are all source consciousness having a human experience. So we all are that divine love embodied into a human incarnation. So, you know, finding that, remembering that, we can really find that through connecting to the heart. The heart is the symbol of love for a reason. And what I've discovered and learned through different teachers and modalities is that where we place our attention is where we place our energy. So when we place our awareness and our attention inside of our heart, when we meditate, it allows it to bloom. It allows it to open up, and it allows us to feel that divine love that is within all of us. And then from there, we're able to create, and we're able to really think about what our intentions are, you know, what our desires are, what we want to put our awareness on. And through the heart center, we're able to almost be the eye of the needle, you know, in challenging times, and be the light sometimes, you know, in dark places. You know, we don't have to succumb to our environment around us. We can become that calm within the storm and project that light and that love outside of us.
That is so beautiful, Justin. Absolutely amazing. And so what we're going to do right now is we're going to listen to something that ties right into the whole notion of the legacy of love.
In the quiet moments, when the sun begins to rise, we find the strength within us. In the stories of our lives, not in gold or glory, but in hearts we've touched with grace, in the love we share with others, in each kind and gentle face. Your legacy is the love you leave behind, in the hands you've held and the souls you've helped to find. It's the laughter in the children, the wisdom in the old. It's the light you sparked in others, in the stories that are told. Through the trials and the triumphs, in the battles that we fight, it's the courage and the kindness that will always shine so bright. In the lessons that we teach and the dreams that we inspire, in the way we lift each other higher and higher. Your legacy is the love you leave behind, in the hands you've held and the souls you've helped to find. It's the laughter in the children, the wisdom in the old. It's the light you sparked in others, in the stories that are told. In the final song you sung, and the curtains drawing near, it's the moments filled with love that will echo year to year. In the footprints on the path that guide the lost and blind, your legacy will live on in the hearts you've left behind. Your legacy is the love you leave behind, in the hands you've held, in the souls you've helped to find. It's the laughter in the children, the wisdom in the old. It's the light you've sparked in others, in the stories that are told. So let's live with open hearts and give with all our might, for the legacy we leave is a beacon in the night, in the echoes of our actions, in the whispers of the wind. Our legacy of love is where it all begins. Our legacy of love is where it all begins.
Your legacy will live on in the hearts you've left behind.
Wow, isn't that beautiful? Absolutely amazing. So, and that is that clip is done by one of our dear friends, Steampunk Punk or Poe, and it's beautiful. And this is a legacy series right now, as Tamara's saying right there. Love is our legacy, and I want to go around and just have you each jump in with, what do you feel your legacy is going to be, by what you know or how you know to create calm in the storms of life? That, especially right now, there just seems to be a lot of storms in life and on this planet. What are you passionate about? And why? Tell me why. So, Jessica, let's start with you, if that's all right with you.
Yeah, thank you, Joy. So the thing that comes to mind for me is really just being in the moment. And so that's something that I really try to emphasize, and I try to impart to others. Finding balance in the moment is definitely a way to create calm, but it also speaks to our entire quality of life, because being grounded in the moment is really allowing us to appreciate everything that we have and to not be distracted. I think there are a lot of distractions in life right now, more than ever, probably, from the digital interactions that we have to all of the other things that we have going on and the craziness and the chaos out there in the world. So that being in the moment is key. And this morning, I was outside, I was picking blackberries on my property for my yogurt. And then I was picking some blueberries, and I had picked all the blueberries I could see. And I went around to the other side of the bush, and I could see that there were blueberries that had been right in front of me, but I couldn't see them from my perspective. So I had to go to the other side and change my perspective to be able to find what I needed. And so this is something that also occurs to me. And if we're grounded in the moment and we're paying attention in the moment, we're able to shift our perspective and we're able to go where we need to go. So I think that being grounded in the moment and paying attention and taking in the moment, not getting distracted by worries, is something that really will impart a huge amount of quality of life for all of us. And the more that we do that, we'll just be an example to others. So I think, we can't control what our legacy is. Everyone is experiencing their own life in their own way and processing things as they are. So we can't really control what others take from us, but I definitely know that the lighthouse does not come down and try to steer other people's ships, right? The lighthouse just stays up there as the lighthouse and is an example and does what it does. So we can all learn from one another, but we can all be a lighthouse to each other as well.
I love that, being a lighthouse. Hold one moment. I'm seeing a lot of purple hearts showing up here in the comments. So we have something very special to share with you. Thank you for that important message. We do have a Purple Pen Hearts Club, and we remember people who are left us with that. So, yeah. So, okay, being the lighthouse. All right, I'm going to go with that thread, and I'm going to go over to Adora. Adora, let's talk about being a lighthouse. What does that mean to you?
Well, I think exactly what's coming up for Jessica is what is coming up for me, and it stands in the lighthouse, whether you're being the lighthouse or, for me, that present moment and being more intimate in the moment, whether it's a storm so that you know how to navigate, keep your balance, stay aligned, you were on ground, I was on water, but staying in that moment was very alive, and it raised the standard for me. Even going through the breakup was very alive. What's the best next move for me? What do I need? Who do I need to be with? How do I need to love right now? What do I need to say? And I lost the screen. There we go. And so for me, I now want to bring that intimacy. Like right now, I feel the breeze blowing on my shoulders. And when we're just moving through the motions, or we get mastery with certain levels of things, be it brushing our teeth or doing podcasts like this, there's a certain level of, I know what's going on here, and I miss out on the very alive, present next thing that wants to emerge. Where does this want to go? Where's the water taking me? Where is this feeling taking me? Where is this groundedness and connection? So I think when we're present and aware, we're all lighthouses for someone, and we are light, we are love. And you don't know, just being present with someone and actually hearing them, receiving them, taking them in, taking their eye gaze at the grocery store to this conversation, really receiving someone is so profoundly healing. I've broken out in tears. I've had other people break out in tears. I've felt like lifetimes of connection with total strangers by choosing to engage like that. So I want to bring that level of intimacy into all the areas of my life again, into my friendships, and whether it's lovemaking, storms, grocery shopping. I think that it's time for me. I'm this weekend raising my standard already. So thank you for asking.
Thank you for sharing that, Adora. To me, it seems and feels like you're really in the moment because you're in touch with your heart and your emotions. And I'm going to have Justin piggyback off of what you just said. Justin, would you do us the honor of talking about what that means to you?
Well, I think you really mentioned being fully in the moment, being intimate with everything around you, and that's what life is about. It's about being in the moment and experiencing everything that is with us. And to maybe address your earlier question, Joy, as far as legacy goes, I really want to teach people how powerful they are as a creator of their life. I think we've been hypnotized and conditioned quite a bit to think that we are limited beings, that we are living in linear time, when in reality we are multi-dimensional beings that are living in this physical reality, and our thoughts and our emotions are incredibly powerful. So powerful that we can actually create an event in our lives through thought alone. So I just want maybe the listeners to grasp that you can sit down and think a thought, a small little neurosynaptic connection in the brain, and that can create an event in our lives. So I'm personally very fascinated with how we can master our minds, master our hearts, our emotions, to become master creators of our lives. And it really comes down to becoming present, like you all mentioned today, and getting clear on our intention, what it is we desire, and what we would feel if our creation became true. If the thought of our abundance or the thought of our relationship, whatever it is that we desire, how would that feel in the heart? And typically it feels like a lot of love, gratitude, bliss, joy. So those emotions combined with the clear intention, we can really begin to master creating our lives.
Oh, I love that. Just a minute. Absolutely fabulous, Justin. And yeah, we seem to have a common thread here. I'm noticing it. Maybe, I don't know if you are. And let's see, I want to see what Jason, right, has to say about legacy and creating that calm. Yet, Jason, you've been in some uncalm situations before, haven't you?
Just one or two. Yeah, just one or two. I think you're alluding to the fact that I'm a Marine, and
Yeah.
Desert Chill, Desert Storm came around, and wasn't prepared to talk about this, but I will share this one thing, is that kind of what we talked about has been talked about through the panel is about release. And I'll share something very personal that I don't talk about at all. But the first time I got shot at, when I came home off of duty that night, I said that I released myself, and I said, God, if this is when I go, this is when I go, and I'm okay with that. And I just had a supplication to the Lord, as Jack Kerouac said. And I'm not a Christian. I'm not religious in that sense. I got a bunch of other stuff going on, but at that time, that was, I believe in God. I believe in Creator, and I released, and I said, I'm not going to try to control this anymore. I'm not going to try to hold tight to everything and try to, And in that release, I found my calmness, and in my calmness, the military, some of the branches, they say slow is smooth and smooth is fast. Just to kind of throw that out there. I found my release, and I found my base and my balance at that moment, because I could have fought it. I could have been scared. I could have, a lot of different things, but just allowing things to show up as they show up. And then to Justin's point, focus on what you do want, not what you don't want, because what you focus on is what shows up in your life. And so if you're in a storm and you're focusing, oh, the storm is so bad, and this is bad, and this is bad, and this is bad, guess what's going to continue to show up in your life? More storm. But if you say, okay, it's a storm, I recognize it. I know what it is. It's raining as it's raining now. It's windy as it's windy now. And if you're in danger, get out. I mean, that's what the nervous system was designed for. If you're truly in danger, I'm not saying just sit and meditate, because that's not going to do it. If you're in danger, you have to take action. Someone earlier talked about that too, about the way I say it is that the universe has to find you working. You know, you can have all these great plans and all this stuff, but you have to take action. And that's part of it, is having control in the situation. I just said release, but then I'm also talking about control. But for me, the release was my control. The release was me saying, I turn it over to something bigger than me, and I know it's going to be handled at that level. But for us personally, you know, we take actions throughout our day to help that. And talking about legacy, kind of jumping across there, talking about legacy, you know, someone, and I missed it in the comments, but someone said a great comment, talked about our story is our legacy. I would offer that and throw an and at it. Our life is our story. So what story are you telling yourself about what's happening in your life? That's how your life is. So if your story is a negative story, your life will be negative. But if you tell yourself a story that's better and more improved, it's not ignoring, it's not lying, it's not that, but it's setting yourself up to where you're going. It's that focus. You know, I'm focusing on the positive. We could all fill pages of what we don't want in our lives. It's not going to help us. Write one sentence of what you do want in your life and head towards that, and that's going to help you. And that's what will help you get through the storm, is say, what's the one thing that I want to achieve through this storm? What good can I take from it? And then go from there. Amen.
Amen. And aho, so to speak, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I love it. So
Joy, may I piggyback off of that?
Absolutely. I was just going to say, who wants to jump in? Absolutely.
Well,
please do.
Well, Jason, I think you did, you know, you talked about the dichotomy there of, you know, release, but also control. And that's really like the yin and yang, right? It's like it's having both of those at the same time and finding that balance of merging both. And I'm personally very fascinated with our intentions and how if we over intend, we're trying to force it, you know, we're trying to make it happen. But if we don't intend at all, we're kind of lazy and we give up, and it's like, you know, so it's really finding that balance between intention, surrender with action, while also surrendering and letting go and allowing things to come. And that's where I really think an open heart comes in, right? Is gratitude, and gratitude being the emotion of receivership, where when we open up to gratitude, now we're kind of in that energetic state to be able to allow things to come and allow things to be received into our individual lives. So I think that was great there, Jason, you know, the balance of both the release and the control.
Thank you, Justin.
Yeah, I'd love to.
Go ahead.
I'd love to jump in. I love the balance and control and what you just said, Justin, and intention. And then Joy, to bring it back to when you asked Justin, how are you being? Because legacy is, you create the intention, then you go and you connect in to your heart, to God, to the highest, however you see it, and stay present with that intention driving. And then who you're being moment to moment. The minutes make up a day. We go, how is my day? Well, how was it? How are you being? And then the days make up a week. Now we know how is your week. The weeks make the year. Ultimately, how is my year? And those years make up the life. So it's really managed in that moment to moment, which sometimes it's sunshine and blue skies, and sometimes it's, you know, something else, and it's all beautiful, but keeping those core elements of intention based on connecting in. What am I designed for? What am I called to be? Who am I? And then the surrender with the beingness. And it's a full-time game managing all that, right? It's a full-time fun game.
Jessica, what say you?
Yeah, this is such a great panel, and I really honor everything that's been shared here. It's fascinating to hear from these different perspectives and echoing a lot of the things that I've discovered and believe. One of the things that I thought about in regards to what we give our energy to, and like what Jason was saying, it's very important to be aware of what we're focusing on and not attracting more of the things that we don't want. But one thing that comes to mind is how in social media, people will often portray a lot of positivity, and others might think, well, they're just acting like everything is perfect. For me, I share things that are positive because that's what I see. And it doesn't mean that I haven't gone through a lot of hardship or adversity. And once in a while, I'll actually make posts to that fact just to say, it doesn't mean that my life is perfect, but I'm just choosing to focus on the positive. But I've had a lot of upheaval in my life, and I've actually been divorced 3 times. And I've had different, I've moved to different places. I've had different careers. There's a lot of things in my personal life, in my work life, in careers, and different things that have gone awry or have gone crazy or that have been very strange. And I've had to rebuild and readapt and all of these things. But what I say, my core belief is I've had a very charmed life. And I have a very charmed life. And because I believe that I do, I do. And so I was having this conversation with my mother the other day just to say, it's not that I don't have strife or challenges. And just because my demeanor is the way that it is, it doesn't mean that everything's perfect. It just means that the way that I choose to process my reality and the perspective that I maintain is a happy one. And that's the difference. So that's something that I just wanted to impart, because I know a lot of people are on social media and a lot of people spend time just absorbing what others are putting out there. And I think it's very important to just make that really clear distinction that just because you see a lot of positivity doesn't mean that things are always perfect. So, I was making posts about how beautiful my life was a year ago when we had a sewer main behind our house that had blown up, and we got people digging the 6 foot wide ditch across the back line of our property. But that's not what I was focusing on. That's not what I was giving my attention to. I was giving my attention to the little chicks that I had and the flowers I was growing and all of these, the things I was excited about in work and events that we were doing and books that we were publishing. So anyway, that's something that I wanted to highlight for that, keeping our positive perspective.
That's so important, Jessica. And I really like that you brought up the whole social media and the perspectives that other people can have about how we personally are creating calm or riding out the storm, like Adora did, on our little ski jets. They're watching us. However, it's so personal, isn't it? And again, everyone here who are sitting here in our beautiful panel, each of you have had to make that choice to create the calm and the different ways to create that calm in the storms of life. And the storms will continue to go on, won't they? But that's really our legacy about how we actually show others. Not everyone's going to agree, right? So I'm going to go around and I'd like you to each take a couple of minutes, just kind of final thoughts. And let's start with you, Justin. I'm going to go with you first. I'm just feeling pulled to have you go on here. Thank you, sir.
Yes. Final thoughts for today. I think we talked quite a bit about the present moment. And in the present moment, all possibilities exist. So when we meditate and we connect to the present moment, all thoughts are possible. All thoughts can possibly become reality. So recognizing that when we sit down to meditate and we connect to our hearts and we connect to the field around us, that anything is possible. And the only limitation to our thoughts are our beliefs and what we don't think can happen. So if we can have a thought and we can hold that thought with intention and we could feel it with our heart and believe it full-heartedly, it can become real. So final thoughts for the community here today on the call is you're limitless. You can do anything you put your mind and heart towards. It's just a matter of overcoming those challenges, those times in the storm, recognizing that they are simply there to help you grow and evolve. They're not there to destroy you. They're there to really help you become aware of who you need to be during that season of life to get to the next level and to get to where you want to go.
Oh, I love that. That's so beautiful. I know everyone on the panel here is like, yes, we all agree with that. Thank you, Justin. I'm going to bring up Jason now. Okay, here we go. We're switching. There we go. Jason.
All right. Thank you so much. And everyone has such great insights and wisdom to share today. I'm so glad I was here with all of you today. Much too short, but glad we've engaged in conversation, and hopefully it'll grow these relationships, because I love what you all are saying. The one thing I do want to mention, and I talking about these things, we're talking about all these tools to use when you go through the storm and how to think positively and all this stuff. And I get it. Not everyone is there. And, we all struggle. And that's where this compassion, we talked about confidence, compassion, and courage. And that's where compassion comes in, is that, compassion, we say in Buddhism, compassion is a verb. And so it means that you recognize something needs to change and you take action to change it. And so have self-compassion, be true to yourself and say, you know what, I'm learning, I'm growing. This is a practice. You start the journey from somewhere and go from there. And I want to share this one last quick thing here, if I can. It's a poem from Rabindranath Tagore. He says, clouds come floating into my life, no longer to carry rain or usher storm, but to add color to my sunset sky. And it's all about mindset. And thank you for having me here today.
Oh, by the way, Jason, I made a post with that quote by Tagore, and with a beautiful sunset of clouds. It was taken over Florida, these huge, big, I'll have to find it and post it and tag you on it. But it's true. It's on how we look at the clouds, right? Thank you. All right. Miss Adora, I'm bringing you up here for your beautiful
Joy,
wisdom.
thank you for inviting me. And I've also enjoyed all of you and the dialogue and what's opened in the space. And to piggyback on what was just said, we have talked a lot about staying calm, intentionality, creativity, perspective, and acknowledgement of the emotions that are coming through, so that so they can move through and release is a major part. And sometimes in this world of positivity and manifesting, it can create a toxic kind of positivity or bypass, like, yep, the house is burning down, it's fine, everything is fine.
Right.
So no one was saying that here, but to whoever might be listening, and to give that reminder that the more we just don't hang out there, but the allowing of what is moving while using all those other tools, yeah, of perspective is a guidance system to what's working, what's not, what's safe for you, what isn't, what's inspiring to you, what isn't, and the ability to experience the whole range is the ability to experience joy and peace and all the best things at the highest level. So it's a beautiful story that we live in, the one we're creating. We're rewriting it as co-creators consistently. And so no one watches a story that's all those are for people on ecstasy in the club, and you still can't do that very long. Like it's the ebbs and the flows that make life so delicious. And so thank you for the time to be here with you all.
Oh, thank you for joining us from the road and between retreats and all of things. And you're absolutely right, Adora. Everyone lives in their bodies in different ways, don't they? And having that full gamut of emotions, the clouds that Jason was talking about too, and the we don't get a rainbow without the rain, right? Mm-hmm. So that's what we're here to also experience, and to be able to create those ways to flow within. Thank you for those juicy bits, because yeah, the emotions we're here to experience. And Miss Jessica, here you are.
Thank you, Joy. This has been such a fun time being here with all of you. So the last thing that I wanted to just speak to is the fact that when we are not experiencing calm, it's really crucial to be able to sit with feelings that are icky or stressful or intense, and being able to know how to calm our nervous system, and to be able to release things like Adora was talking about, being able to sit with feelings or to let those go. A lot of the maladaptive behaviors that people have is because we can't sit with our feelings that are disturbing, distressing, stressful, hurtful, whatever they are. So one of the things that I've learned about that I really enjoy is the feel, name, allow method. And I learned about this from my dear friend Angela Lee, who's an author. And basically what this does is it says that you will acknowledge that you're feeling a certain feeling, and then you will name it. I'm feeling sadness, I'm feeling anger, I'm feeling shame, whatever it is. And you disconnect from the story around it. And instead of thinking about what has happened, you just allow yourself to feel those feelings and just sit with them. And after about 90 seconds, the emotional charge will dissipate from that, and you won't feel that anymore. So this is a really, really good method that I would suggest as just a concrete example that our viewers could try out or to take from this. Feel, name, allow, and to be able to get through those moments when you're not experiencing calm.
I love that. That's so beautiful. Well, our time has come to an end here, my beautiful friends. Thank you so much. And you are all very amazing wisdom keepers. And hopefully, and I know anyone watching this is going to get a lot of beautiful tips and heartfelt wisdom to take into their life to create that calm within the storm. And so with that, thank you, everybody. And we'll see you next week.
I want to say thank you for joining us today and welcome you back next Sunday as we once again are joined by a panel of subject matter experts that will explore and focus in on our fabulous lives. Until next Sunday.